September 8th, 1943. War has rules that are never written down, yet everyone obeys them. One of those rules is simple. You do not trust the man who was your enemy yesterday. You don't trust him with a rifle. You don't trust him with your flank. You don't trust him when the shooting starts and the smoke closes in. Because war teaches you fast. Flags matter. Uniforms matter. Yesterday matters. For 3 brutal years, Italian soldiers wore the uniform of the Axis. They guard prisoners in North Africa. They fire coastal guns at Allied ships. They ambush patrols in Greece and Yugoslavia. They collapse quickly sometimes, but they still kill men before they surrender. So the rule hardens among Allied troops. Italians don't fight. Italians won't stand. Italians can't be trusted. It becomes a certainty, passed down trench to trench, truck to truck, foxhole to foxhole. And then, on September 8th, 1943, radios crackle across the Mediterranean with a message that sounds like a mistake. Italy has surrendered. Not negotiated, not stalled, surrendered. Within hours, former Axis troops are told they are no longer enemies. Within days, some of them are told to fight beside you against Germany. The rule should protect you here. Instead, it puts you in danger, because now you must decide whether the rule still applies, and for the men on the ground, there is no time to debate it. You are Lieutenant Eric Linklater, 34 years old, Scottish, a writer by instinct, a soldier by necessity. Before the war, you wrote novels and essays. During it, you are assigned to British Army intelligence, often attached to frontline units. Your task is not to command men or plan battles. Your task is to observe, to listen, to interpret, to understand morale, behavior, truth. You have already watched armies collapse. You saw it in Norway in 1940. You saw it again in North Africa. You know what defeat smells like. You know what fear sounds like when it hides behind humor. And now you are in Italy. Italy in 1943 is a nation coming apart at the seams. Mussolini was overthrown in July. The king arrests him. The fascist government dissolved almost overnight, but the war does not pause. German divisions flood south. Rail yards are seized. Airfields are occupied. Italian units are surrounded, disarmed, or annihilated if they resist. On September 8th, the armistice is announced publicly without clear orders reaching Italian units. The result is chaos. Some Italian divisions surrender to the Allies immediately. Others resist the Germans and are slaughtered. On the Greek island of Cephalonia, the WWII division fights the Germans for days before thousands are executed en masse. This is not a clean switch of sides. It is a civil war inside a collapsing army. From Allied headquarters, the decision looks logical. Italy offers manpower, ports, roads, intelligence, a chance to shorten the campaign. From the foxhole, it looks insane. You watch British infantry units dig in south of Naples. They are tired, under strength, worn down by weeks of fighting through heat, dust, and mines. Then Italian soldiers appear, sometimes unarmed, sometimes in ragged formations, sometimes still wearing pieces of Axis insignia hastily torn away. These men were enemies days ago. Now they are told to stand beside you. You listen to the first reactions. They are not polite. Bloody hell, they expect us to trust them? Watch your kit, they'll nick it. Give it a week, they'll run. You write it all down, because this is the real war. Not the speeches, not the treaties. the moment when ordinary men are told to rewrite their instincts. Strategically, the stakes are enormous. The Italian campaign is already grinding into something ugly. Mountains favor the defender. German engineering turns ridges into fortresses. Every mile costs lives. The Allies need help, but help that cannot be trusted is worse than none at all. And now you and everyone around you are about to find out which this will be. The first joint movements happen quietly. Italian labor battalions are assigned to repair roads, unload ships, and carry ammunition. The thinking is cautious. Keep them behind the lines. Give them shovels, not rifles. You watch British soldiers observe them like suspicious farmers eyeing a stray dog. Every mistake confirms the prejudice. An Italian drops a crate, a truck breaks down, a unit arrives late. The jokes come fast. Careful, they'll surrender to the mud, probably waiting to see who wins. Then the Germans intervene. A Luftwaffe raid hits a port at night. Bombs fall among Italian labor units working alongside British engineers. Explosions tear open crates and bodies alike. You see Italians scatter at first, some fleeing instinctively, some diving for cover without orders. British soldiers curse. There you go. And then something unexpected happens. Some Italians come back. They return to the worksite under falling debris. They pull British wounded from the rubble. They keep unloading ammunition while fires burn around them. A British sapper watches it, stunned. They didn't have to do that. No one says anything else. Days later, in the mountains, Italian units are attached to British patrols as guides. The terrain is brutal. Steep ridges, olive groves, narrow mule tracks mined by the Germans. Visibility drops to nothing in the fog. You move uphill in silence. Boots scrape rock, rifles bump ribs. An Italian guide at the front halts suddenly, raises a hand. German voices drift through the mist. Close, too close. You count the distance without meaning to. 200 yards, 100, 50. Your finger tightens on the trigger. The Italian guide turns, whispers one word. Aspetta. Wait. German boots crunch past, unaware. Minutes stretch. Sweat runs cold down your spine. Then the guide moves again, leading the patrol back the way you came, unseen. No one laughs afterward. At Anzio, the test becomes brutal. German artillery pounds Allied lines. Infantry assaults crash against shallow defenses. Italian support units are caught in the open. Some break, some flee. The rule screams back into relevance. But others stay. Italian stretcher-bearers cross open ground under machine gun fire. Italian drivers keep trucks moving along shelled roads. Italian engineers repair bridges at night, knowing German patrols are close. An American infantry officer snaps after one engagement. They're not Marines, but damn it, they're here. By 1944, the Allies took a risk that would have been unthinkable months earlier.
They form Italian combat groups, not auxiliaries, not laborers, infantry. They issue British weapons, British uniforms with Italian insignia. They assign them sectors of the line. You watch Italian troops attack German positions in the Apennines. Mortars fall, men go down, the line wavers. And then it holds. An Allied captain, watching through binoculars, lowers them slowly. Well, I'll be damned. Trust does not arrive with cheers. It arrives with silence, with cigarettes shared, with canteens passed back and forth, with the simple understanding that when the shooting starts, The man next to you stays. That is the impossible action, not switching sides, earning belief. If you find this kind of untold military history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of courage, doubt, and hard-earned trust deserve to be remembered, and by subscribing, you help us keep them alive. What Allied soldiers don't immediately see is how much this changes the campaign. Italian units take over rear area security, freeing Allied infantry for front-line assaults. They guard supply routes through terrain Germans once infiltrated freely. They provide intelligence no map could offer. German commanders notice. Captured Italian soldiers fighting with the Allies are executed as traitors. Orders circulate, labeling them worse than partisans. The message is clear. There is no going back. Italian combat groups help breach the Gothic Line in 1944. They fight in northern Italy in 1945 as the German front finally collapses. Rome falls. Florence is liberated. The war grinds northward. Allied soldiers write home differently now. They surprised us. They stood their ground. They earned it. The rule has been rewritten, not by orders, but by blood. After the war, you return to writing. You publish what you saw, not propaganda, not an apology, observation. Italian veterans return to a country shattered by occupation and civil war. Their service is awkward to remember, too allied for fascists, too compromised for purity. Many fade into silence. Allied soldiers age, their stories thin with time, but some still remember Italy differently. The strangest thing, one British veteran says decades later, learning to trust the enemy while bullets were still flying. That is why this story matters now, because war still forces impossible choices, because alliances still shift overnight, because the men asked to adapt and never the ones who decided. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this history matters. We're dedicated to rescuing forgotten wartime stories from the archives. If you want to join us, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Lieutenant Eric Linklater and the Allied and Italian soldiers who learned to trust under fire do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.